Welcome to the Koso Konnections podcast, where the ancient art of Japanese fermentation science meets modern natural health. Embark with us on a journey of transformation, exploring age-old wellness practices through inspiring discussions, expert advice, and personal stories. Discover how these traditions can revolutionize your health and well-being today.
Welcome back to Koso Connection. I'm Dr. Z, and I'm joined today by my guest host, Karen Monzingo, and a very, very special person, Miss April Gershom. She has joined our company a couple months ago, and she has now become a great leader in our company. She's reached a level we call Hancho, but we're going to get into all of that, and we're going to have a very deep discussion with her. And I'm going to let Karen, because Karen is a very special host, I'm going to let her start the questioning and conversation with April. And of course, I'm here. I'll jump in from time to time and give my point of view. So welcome, April. Thank you so much for joining us here on Koso Konnections. And I'll leave it up to Karen. Go ahead, Karen.
Awesome. Thanks, Dr. Z. Our special guest today is a longtime friend of mine, April Gresham. She's a single mom of 3 boys and has lived in Oregon her whole life. April has had a career of having her own preschool and later a business in social selling. She's recently decided to take her health into her own hands, and here we are. So, April, please tell us, how did you first hear about Koso Med and what made you want to try the product?
Honestly, I knew I needed to do something different. I'm a mom of 3 boys, and they're always going. I'm a single mom at that, and it is exhausting. You kind of put yourself on the back burner, and I knew that I needed to do something different. My boyfriend of 11 years, we're no longer together recently, but he had a stroke 2.5 years ago, and at that point, it was really hard. We found out that he had diabetes and high blood pressure. And so for 2.5 years, trying to convince him to take care of himself. And this year, at the end of the year, it was just New Year's resolution time, but it was more than that. It was more a time to know that I needed to make some changes because I would be on that same track, and I wanted to be there for my boys. I want to be there for my future long time from now grandchildren. And a few of my friends were using the Koso products, and they said it tasted like chocolate milk. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try.
I love that. It's so funny because I think first and foremost here in the United States, like, we want to be healthy and those things are important, but like also we want it to taste good. So when you tried it, April, was it like, were you like, you knew your friends, you trusted your friends, or when you tried it, you were like, oh, it actually is good, like they said? Like, were you surprised?
I was very surprised because I would call myself like addicted to chocolate. And so I'm pretty picky. I knew I needed to have something that tasted good, or I wouldn't stick with it, right? I might do it for a couple of weeks, which has been the past, and I just wouldn't sustain that. And I needed it to be easy, something super easy. And I tried it and I was like, okay, this really does taste like chocolate milk.
I love that. Have you tried any of the other products? I assume we're talking about the super drink because we're talking about chocolate milk. But is there any other products that you've tried? What are you enjoying?
Yes, the Koso super drink is what I was referring to, which tastes like chocolate milk, and it's so yummy. I actually usually have 2 a day. I have 1 in the morning, and I hate to admit it, but I do not like to cook.
Wow.
I don't cook. And so I will run to FedEx to pick up boxes for my other business. I run and get my son from school. I come home and then I am doing a live that night. So I was stopping for fast food, or I was throwing something in the microwave, or I just wasn't eating, or I was eating at 10 o'clock at night. And all of those options were not good options. Now I just mix up a Koso Super drink and I'm good to go. But I have added in some of the other products as well. And then about a month ago, I added some of the skincare products also.
Oh, I love that. What skincare product has been your favorite so far?
I have a lot of back issues. I have bulging discs in my neck and my back. And so I do like the crystal
matcha. Crystal matcha.
That,
I like
that wonderful cosmetic, right? Let's call it that. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Oh, we went to Cancun recently and I got sunburnt. And so I was using the moisturizer because it has aloe in it. And my sunburn was like amazingly felt so much better within like a day.
I love that. That's been my experience as well with both of those products with the Crystal Matcha. I haven't had the chance to use it for pain just yet, but my mom, who's older, she does use it for pain. But the Essence facial gel, I got a sunburn as well, and I'm like caking it on, and it just made such a big difference. So I love, like, we're the fair skinned ladies, so we need lots of aloe after we're in the sun. So what were your first impressions? We'll just talk specifically to start with the health products. What were your first impressions when you started taking it, besides the taste? What kind of changes did you start to see in yourself?
It's hard to describe, just overall feeling better. I've been sleeping a lot better. I am not a morning person, and I wake up before my alarm goes off, where before I was sleeping like 8, 9, 10 hours and still feeling super exhausted when I would wake up in the morning, where now I get like 8 hours of sleep, and I wake up before my alarm and I'm ready to go. And I'm like, wait, I want to go back to sleep. No, I don't. I actually want to get up for the day. So my energy level throughout the day has increased as well.
I love that. Have there been any like specific friends that you've talked to that have started trying the products that have loved it, seen any big differences?
Oh, yes. Everybody that has tried it is loving it. They'll, especially if they go without it for a couple of days, then they're like, oh, wait, I need that, because you might not notice how you feel differently when you're taking it. But when you stop, then you're like, oh, I want that good feeling back. And that's been huge. My parents are taking it. Several of my friends, my boys. It's just been, I would say, life-changing for our whole family.
I love that. That's what I'm hearing the most. Is it's not just a personal experience, but also the kids are coming in on it too, which is wild. You know, like my kid won't try anything or all these things. And that, I think that's so exciting to see a whole family getting healthy together. So I love that that's your experience. So what would you say to another mom out there who might be feeling stuck or tired? What would your advice be to her?
I would say you got to give these products a try, because you just don't know how good you can actually feel until you feel good. And I know I still am like a work in progress. I mean, I've lost some weight, which is not necessarily was my intention. It was trying to get healthy. And that's like, now I can go to the gym, where before I was exhausted. I didn't want to go to the gym after working. And so you won't know until you give it a try.
I think that's everything. Like, for me, and it sounds like a similar journey, I'm also a single mom, and I was experiencing a lot of the same things as you. And I thought that my norm was so different than what my norm actually is. You know, like I thought being tired all the time, or like you said, not wanting to wake up with my alarm in the morning, I thought those things were my base, and it turns out that it wasn't. And so I love to hear that you've been experiencing the same thing.
April, it's an amazing story. I'm listening, and it's quite deep. to have somebody like yourself who's a career lady, but it's not just a career lady, it's a working lady. Someone that's taking care of their family, someone that's obviously going through stages of her life where not only on the outside you're seeing people that are suffering from health issues, but probably yourself, you don't want to be in the same shoe. I've always said this since I've started in this industry, and especially with Koso Med, is that we really have to take care of ourselves. If we don't, our children are going to suffer, our grandchildren are going to suffer. Obviously, nobody really wants to suffer. There's a point where you look in the mirror and you go, ooh, and it happens gradually. And suddenly you go, it's time. And sometimes it's a bell that rings, and it can be a loved one. In your case, it looks like you went through an ordeal, good or bad. Obviously, you've made the change. I will say this, that what you're saying right now is a very common, not only common, but maybe something that I've seen over and over and over again with all women, men, children, and all people, is that when they are starting with Koso, maybe they don't feel everything the way they want to feel immediately, but when they stop taking Koso, they go, uh-oh, and they start to come back. I think for you, the amazing is the energy. I can feel it. I can almost feel you wanting to jump out of that screen and do something. Getting up early in the morning where you might have felt like, maybe I don't, is very normal. And those are all the light switches that I always talk about on the health talks. Those light switches that turn off as you get older, and suddenly they're back on, and you go for a walk, or you go to the gym, you start working out, you start taking care of yourself. Maybe going to the beauty shop. See, that's a good side too. You start redoing your hair, you start redoing your men too. This is not discriminatory. Men also go to the hair shop, and do all that. But I would like to ask you this question, because it's probably really relevant to people that are listening to this. What would you recommend besides going and doing things that they've never done before? How would you recommend to them to make this change? What would it take for them to make the change? What would it take for them to really look in the mirror and say, I want to change myself. I want to transform. Of course, we're not going to be 13, but we'd like 10 years back or 15 years back. What would you say to those people that are going, I'm not sure?
Well, it is a choice. You have to make the choice. You have to kind of look at your life in 5 years or in 10 years. And if you don't change something, then you're going to be on a certain path. So you have to make a choice that you want something different for your life. And that's what I did going into the new year. I mean, it wasn't even about a New Year's resolution. It was just, that was the time of the year. And that was where I drew the line in the sand, that I was going to make changes for myself and for my health. And then that trickles into your emotional well-being. It transfers into so many facets of your life that just, if you want something different, you have to do something different.
Well, I think that pretty much sums it up right there. I'm very impressed by this point that you have come to the realization that with everything that you've done in your life, and obviously I have a great deal of respect for all kinds of people, I always do, but I have a really deep respect for people that have to work 2 jobs. I know what that takes, because when I started my career out, and very few people know this, I used to sleep on the floors of the factory. So I can really appreciate what it's like to work those long, long hours and come home and take care of family and things like. So I have a great deal of appreciation for you, April. I hope that this transformation, I hope the person that I'm going to see in 3 months and 6 months and a year from now is going to be the new and reborn April, so to speak, and that really you'll be able to really be uplifted. This has been an inspiration for all of our listeners. Believe me, it's been uplifting. Obviously, it's a very gracious moment in Koso Konnections. Like I said earlier, You're one of the first leaders in our organization. Hopefully, not the last leaders. And I look forward to you moving up the ladder of success at one point or another, where you don't have to work two jobs, where you can be at home with your family. Maybe, who knows? Roller skating out of the neighborhood. I don't know. Skateboarding. I don't know, something like that. Believe me, I've seen, 60, 70, 80 years old pick up, rollerblades and things like that. So this is another episode of Koso Connections. I'd like to wish all of our listeners coming back. Please listen. Please, if you'd like to subscribe to our channel, please subscribe. So I'm going to say farewell to April and to Karen and wish all of you the very best. And again, we'll see you on the next Koso Connections. And by the way, Wellness Wave will be coming out, and the highlight will be Miss April. And please pay attention to all of that. We look forward to seeing all of you again in the near future. Thank you very much, and see you again. See you again. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.